A little fact for you, okay? 22 years. It's a long time in life. And another little fact, if you're a dog, 22 years is like over 100 dog years, like maybe even 150 dog years. But if you translate that to a band, 22 years can equate to a lifetime. For a group to remain together for over 2 decades and throughout that time remained relevant is a remarkable achievement. But even more remarkable is the fact that they have kept one of the most loyal fan bases in the world today. We have joined them on a musical journey throughout the years, and also throughout the years they have kept their music honest, which has been one of the key ingredients to keeping the fans loyal. You could see these boys play over 100 times, and every show would be played with an intensity as if it were their last. Only a handful of things send this country into emotional frenzy. It's when the price of cheese goes up, when Paul Henry says a couple of things, and when this band temporarily changed their name. The response from the New Zealand public following the now infamous name change, I think, was a tribute to this group and what they mean to so many New Zealanders. They are, in the true sense of the word, Kiwi icons. Let's have a look at their journey to date.
The New Zealand Herald Legacy Award. For 22 years, they have been and continue to be an enduring and influential part of New Zealand's musical and cultural landscape. The incomparable Shihad. It started in 1988. Wellington High School mates Tom Larkin and John Toogood, joined by Phil Knight and Hamish Lang, chose their name from a sci-fi film, and Shihad were on their way. In 1991, Carl Kippenberger replaced Lang on bass and played his second gig with Shihad, supporting AC/DC. I Only Said, the single from their first album, Churn, reached number 3 on the charts. Shihad established their live act reputation on stages across New Zealand, Australia, and Europe, joining Faith No More on a 7-week tour. Their visceral hard rock sound fully evolved with the 1995 release of Killjoy. The band were building an international following and critical acclaim. The 1996 album Shihad included the NZ hard rock national anthem, Home Again. And 3 years later, the General Electric, packed with an insane number of stonkingly good rock anthems, went straight to number 1. Shihad put a major move on the US. But a week after arriving in Los Angeles, worlds collided with 9/11. Which led to the infamous name change. 3 years later, Shihad were home again.
Here's a song for everybody who has stuck through it with us through fucking thick and thin, man.
And to celebrate the release of Love Is the New Hate, they put on one of the most stupendous concerts in New Zealand music history. For 60 minutes, they owned Aotea Square. The beautiful machine that is Shihad continued to deliver fast, loud, heavy, passionate rock like no other band from Aotearoa. Our greatest live act ever. After 3 number 1 albums, the most top 40 singles, the most appearances at Big Day Out, Shihad have just released their 9th studio album. Powerful and potent, distinctly New Zealand, but truly world-class. Our greatest ever rock band.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honour, and if I could ask you to get out of your seats as I present the New Zealand Herald Legacy Award for 2010 to the greatest band ever, Shihad!
Firstly, we had a talk about it, and the people we want to thank them first is our fans and anyone who's come and seen us play live. And anyone who's bought one of our records, thank you so much. I want to thank my mum and my dad and all the Too Good family and Renice Paul and my beautiful daughter Anaya and all the Paul family. Yeah.
I would like to thank my granddad, also my mum and dad, my lovely sister Petra, my wife Jen, and the rest of the family.
Yep, mum and dad and my family and my wife Caroline for putting up with me.
Yeah, and I want to thank all my family and friends, particularly my mum and dad, who bought me my first drum kit and threw me down the well. I also really want to thank my wife Sarah and my new baby Sam, who've put up with me being away for so long. So, here's the bit. We're not going to try and keep it for too long, but we've got to say a few things, because over 22 years, there's a few people to thank. So, life in a band is a little bit like playing snakes and ladders. There's and there's a cast of characters who we need to kind of thank, who've kind of helped us make the right decisions, and when we've made the wrong decisions, as you might have seen, who've helped pick us up off the floor again. So firstly, I want to start with Trevor Reiki from Pagan Records, who signed us for the first EP and took a shot back in the day. I need to make a really special point of thanking Murray Kamek, and Wildside Records. Murray, he supported us through, the early stages of our career and through the 90s, which really kind of made the band happen. And he was a constant source of advice and counselling and endless curries all around New Zealand. And we couldn't have done it without him. And we thank him from the bottom of our hearts. Murray's really important. We need to thank everyone at Warner Music New Zealand, who've stuck by the band since 1999. And we need to thank the current team, Phil Howling, Lisa Cotter, Jeremy Morrow, David Southgate, Nicole Renata, Nicole Thomas, Rachel, and everyone else at the office in Parnell. And we also need to thank the past champions at Warner, James Southgate, Jerry Lloyd, Grant Hislop, Ashley Page, and everyone who's been through the doors at the office in Parnell. We also need to make a mention of Universal Music Publishing and Bob Ed and Roger Grierson, who invited us to the family. It was great. Another group of people we need to thank, this is a very small group of people, obviously, but we need to thank our managers, and in particular, Gerald Dwyer, who's no longer with us. Gerald was a pioneer in many ways, and the real thing that we have to thank him for is that he saw in us what we saw for ourselves. And he broadened our horizons immeasurably through his record collection and his life experiences and his determination to break the band internationally. And he never let the tyranny of distance shape his vision or ours. So we miss you, Gerald, and thank you so much. Also, we need to thank Dan Hennessy and Stephen Betts at Aloha Management, who have been at our side for the majority of our career and who continue to bat for us through rain and shine to this day. Thank you so much.
Cool. We'd like to thank booking agent Peter Campbell, also Brent Eccles, Kath Anderson, Campbell Royce Smith, Megan Buchanan, our crew, David Wernham for making us louder than ever any other band in the world. Richie Neitz, Nick Rowan, Don McKenzie, Steve Bremner, also Jules Cribb and Ross Malloy, and Hamish Lang, who played bass on our first EP. Yeah. And before that, Robert Daniels and Jeff Duncan. Thank you.
And lastly, I just want to say thank you to New Zealand for being so unique and so different. And I reckon without like our peers and how special this place is, we would have just been a speed metal band. Instead, we got to see and hear awesome music and was surrounded by that stuff, and that made us who we are. So thank you, New Zealand.
Ladies and gentlemen, the New Zealand